Hello, IK here. Welcome to Under the Hood of the App React component. Here is all about function, a lot of story about function and stack. Provider is React component. It is a function. App here is option. It is calling option. It's go to stack. But here I didn't spoke about that because here is important what React library bring to engine, to JavaScript engine. And it is rendering, it is virtual document object model, and it is actual document object model. Here the provider execute, store execute. It means we have Redux ready. And the app is here between open and close tag, what means that provider provide for every component in React possibility to subscribe to Redux. Okay, let's get back to calling function. It is syntax for calling function, but it is syntax in library, syntax in JavaScript XML, and it is declarative, shortest possible said, okay, calling functional component up, but calling as building blocks in user interface. Okay, it would be visible. Let's get see. It would be visible. It would be visible here in div ID root. Look at what you see here. It is index.html, and here is a div ID root here, and when I click here, we will see form, add new post form. Here is a form, all element and section post, and we have 3 posts. All is here. All is here inside ID root div HTML element inside of index.html element. And it is because of this code, about this code. We declare container as a div element. Document is index.html. Method of get element by ID root, and we declare container as virtualization, as abstraction of document object model HTML element div named root, ID root. And here, create root, we declare a root object and assign create root function and the parameter container. And it means that root, here is a root. Root is a React application, would be visible product of that user interface, document object model user interface would be visible. Actual document object model, actual, would be visible through container, through root div ID root. It is here. It is here, and it is here visible that in ID root, here it is, ID root. When I close it, I open, it is visible. It is actual document object model. Index.html I call single page application, single page. It is single document object model for all React application. And it is visible if I press right and to see source, page source. Here it is index.html document object model. And it is always in page source. Always, because it is single page application, and React application a single page application. And here it is div. Here it is div, but nothing visible, because actual document object model is visible through abstraction container. And actual document object model must have physical, real physical location in memory, document object model, actual document object model, but it is not visible here. It is visible here in when we click in elements, F12. Here is F12 visible in elements. Now it is a real word, real actual document object model. It is a real page source. And there is a third document object model. In React, it is virtual document object model. And all changes of state first would be in virtual. Virtual document object model is like listener. And the virtual document object model, better said, React, compare actual document object model and virtual document object model. That virtual object model we don't see. It is some light version, what running and listening. But actual document object model is passive, physical elements in the memory and waiting that somebody change them after interaction of user. Who would change actual? It would be virtual document object model would be compared with actual, but would be compared with previous version of virtual. Don't touch actual. It is hard static part of our story. But virtual is fast and responsive, on any interaction, and compare previous virtual with the new virtual. And if difference exists, activate algorithms which change actual document object model, but change that not all if they don't need change all. Okay, but only change of that user interface of that actual document object model, only what they need. Okay, for example, here is a form. Look at here is a value. Look at now. I type something. Look at here. A. It means that reconciliation processes changes actual document model. Here we see that changes only it also here in content. Changes only element input of add new post form and element content. Here is a calling of app functional component, and that functional component in low level of JavaScript in JavaScript engine would be pushed on the stack and etc. etc. Because of that, child would be executed before it is recursive. Here it is app.js, but for us now is more interesting to look at that rendering of that components. Here is at first would be rendered at post form. We can see that render it, refresh. Look at first add new post form. You see add new post form, and you see loading. We're waiting for post list. Add new post we see, and we're waiting for add post list. Again, refresh, loading. And add new post is immediately here. And why it is like it? Because at post form, there is only initial rendering, and there is all what at post form need for to be visible on the screen. Empty input element, empty text area input, ready button, save the post. But post list is more interesting because post list is subscribed to Redux. Add post form has only local state, title, content, etc. But post list is subscriber, what means that state is in Redux changes, state changes in Redux, and post list use selector, use hook, use selector, what is a listener to changes of state in Redux. Add post form use state manager, but post list state manager is Redux, and post list is subscribed to that state, to that changes. And because of that process of rendering of post list go to 3 times rendering, initial and 2 more. How? Look at in post list. Here it is. First rendering is initial rendering, and what we'll see, what would be here in post list is here. Here in post, what would be in post would be empty, because Redux is created, and there is a store, there is a reducer, and initial state in reducer is post empty array. Status is idle, initial value, and error is null. It is initial value. And in initial state, use selector, see that value, and assign that value here to post in our declaring post, assign status to to status, and error to error assign value null. Okay, it is situation after initial value. And after initial value, when finished initial value, we have happened event, component was mount. That component was mount event call use effect. Use effect activates this arrow function, and here the logical condition is status equal idle, and it is status is equal idle, and operand in the right side is always one. It is dispatch fetch post, always ready to dispatch fetch post. It is one. This is one. And the door one and one, entire result is one, and dispatch happen. Dispatch fetch post. Of course, in dependency here, status is changed. Dispatch is not changed and never be changed. It is lifelong same reference. This dispatch means reference, and one created stay all the time of life React's application, but status changes. Status is idle, and status pardon, in second, status is idle again. I wrong spoke. It is not change, and it is not change. And but because of this digital logic, we have dispatch fetch post. And okay, let's see that here in console. At post list, here it is first rendering, empty array for post, idle for status, and the null for error. Again, second time, when it is initial. Second time, it is because use effect. Use effect activate dispatch tank function dispatch pending type action, and that pending type action, again, it is waiting to fulfill type action, and there is nothing from in time of pending waiting. Again, post is empty, but status changes to loading. It is information for user interface, for developer to create user interface and show on the user interface some animation of loading or other. And that action pending type, when finished, that process, and we have all is okay, we have fulfilled type of action. It is full, it is all post, it is complete array from the server, and that array would be visible. But it is now second rendering, loading type, because of loading time, it is changes state, and we have, because of loading, we have re-rendering, and that re-rendering show that loading, but we see that loading on the screen in user interface. Error is null like before, and after that coming action type fulfilled, it means we see complete all post. Here is a 3 post. We see status succeeded. It is when is fulfilled, action type, when action type is fulfilled, succeeded. And here is interesting that we have, because first time, that third time, we have post-excerpt rendered, because post-excerpt, there is a post, like post, like props, input value, and before we have not props. First time when we have post by post is after fulfilled, and before we have post excerpt like child is rendered, and after that is finished rendered post list. Here is a post excerpt. It is a separation by concern. It is in this file we have two React components. One is a post excerpt, and it is for one post. JSX for one post. And post list use a map to have a list. Use a map to have a list for a list of here it is variable content equal post map. Here it is post excerpt, and here is post like props, and must be, and here it is that post props equal real value of one post, and post by post we have a list of posts. And in this we don't see use callback, and don't see use memo. We have no memorization of, and how we don't allow rendering of post excerpt here when there is no post. It is child of post list, and here it is by logic, not by use hook, use callback, use memo, but by declaring content with let keyword, because let allow that content would be changed directly, not immutable, like a constant keyword. And here is a logic or structure of ternary. It is if else, but right here, like ternary operator. And if status equal loading, we will have a loading word and 3 dots. But if status is, it would be if else, if else, and na kraju, and in the end else. Status equals succeeded. When status equals succeeded, and now we have a post map. We call post excerpt by map method of post. And that moment we see rendering post excerpt 3 times. How many posts? So many rendering post excerpt. And after that, we have finished rendering of post list. Post excerpt is child. Look at here, it is a child. It is calling. Post excerpt here is called. And it is kind how we stop, don't allow rendering of post excerpt in empty. without post. Here it is. Okay, let's see something else. Here in when we see Redux, we see that init, initial state, it is init. It happened when Redux is when Redux is installed, and all store and reducer was installing, and it was init state. Look at here. Post init must again click here. Init means post empty array, status idle, and error null. It is here, it is declared in post slice, here it is, constant initial state. Post slice is a reducer for state post. State post is object with the three properties: post, status, error. And here is empty array idle null. It is here. It is here, init. A question to you: what expect to see when I click in fetch post pending? Fetch post pending. Expect to see again post empty, but status loading and error null. I click on that. Look at post empty, status loading, error null. And in the end, what to see in third, click fulfilled, see complete post, all three post array, and status succeeded. It is visible here about Redux. Redux is a separate application. What provider connect with our separate application React. React and Redux, two applications connected by provider, React element provider, and use dispatch action to Redux and use selector to contrary state, changes of state, transport to component. That two, dispatch, use dispatch and use selector, that two hook coming from package React Redux, because they involve in both sides, in Redux and in React component. Because of that, coming from package React Redux, that package must be installed React from npm. Also, we need to install Redux toolkit. Inside of that is Redux also. We don't need separate install Redux. Okay, it's all for this video. Thank you for watching this video.